Farmington Civic Center, 200 West Arrington in downtown Farmington. Find out more online at fmtn.org/civic center or at 505-599-1148. KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center, which is officially baby-friendly. This evidence-based initiative is designed to support mother-baby bonding and optimal infant feeding practices by upholding the 10 steps to successful breastfeeding. San Juan Regional Medical Center, officially baby-friendly and serving the Four Corners since 1910. Find out more online at sanjuanregional.com. Minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Wednesday morning, December 4th. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Micklin, and thank you for tuning in to KSJE 90.9 FM over the air in San Juan County, 103.3 FM over the air now in Durango, Colorado, and of course everywhere listening at KSJE.com. Special good morning also to our viewers who are watching our visual radio program, streaming live to the KSJE YouTube channel and to our Facebook page. Welcome to you, everyone. Coming up in the next few moments, my guests in the studio for the first part of the program from San Juan County, 100 Women and Men Who Care. We'll be talking about this philanthropic group and their goals for the region and for local nonprofits. That's coming up in the next few moments right here on KSJE. Then later on at 8:30, we'll be talking with Analytical Technologies. It is a local startup organization, and their goal is to bring electricity and light to parts of the Navajo Nation. Join us for that coming up later on this morning as well. And we'll round out the 8 o'clock hour as we do on Wednesdays, talking to communications professor Dr. Mike Haddabaugh, our weekly trip to the Encouragement Lab coming up today at 8:50 right here on KSJE. Next hour, Mick Hess will take us roving with the arts. Today, Mick is playing music from Holst. It is The Planets, coming up today at 9:06, a special 90-minute edition of Roving with the Arts today, followed by our local and regional author program, Right on Four Corners. Tracy Hales-Vass is speaking with author Rebecca Lawton about her latest book, The Oasis This Time. That interview coming up at 10:30 right here on KSJE today. Of course, you know we're on Facebook and YouTube, but you can also follow us on Twitter and check out KSJE on Instagram as well. Weather forecast, we are expecting some off and on snow showers today, tonight, and tomorrow. Little accumulation expected here in the Farmington area. Highs today and tomorrow mid-40s, overnight lows tonight 38. It'll be 26 tomorrow night, then partly cloudy skies and a high of 47 on Friday, 50 on Saturday, maybe another rain shower moving in on Sunday with a high in the mid-40s. We always say that visual radio can take you places, so this morning let's take you to New York City. Here's the ice skaters at the rink at Bryant Park in Manhattan in New York City, where it is 37 degrees. That is their low temperature for the day, on their way to a high of about 43 in Manhattan in New York City today. Well, let me get to my guests who are here with me this morning to talk about this relatively new organization in town, 100 Men and Women Who Care. Joining me here in our visual radio studio, Heather Holmes is here. Good morning to you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Also, Pat Manchester is here. Good morning.
Good morning, Scott.
And also, Martin Caddell is here. Good morning to you.
Good, sir.
Good to have all of you here this morning to talk about this, as I said, relatively new group, right? The men have met just a couple of times.
The men actually got started in October.
Okay.
The ladies, I think, got started in June.
Well, it's always ladies first, right?
Absolutely.
Isn't that what they say?
They beat us to the punch.
There you are.
Right.
But the two groups are relatively the same mission, right? Which is to support local nonprofit organizations philanthropically and to have your members contribute and think about ways to help others in the community, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right.
That is correct.
Very good.
That is correct.
So, Heather, talk to me about the women's group. Let's start with you, since you all were formed first.
Thank you.
And it's a group of women who get together and talk about, nominate other nonprofit groups in the community, correct?
Yes.
And take it from there.
So we had our first meeting in April. It was Rita Manchester and myself and a core group of women that decided to see what we could do as far as helping our local community raise money through donations. We had our first just group meeting in April and our first quarterly meeting in June, at which time we heard from local nonprofit agencies that presented to our group, and as a group of ladies, we decided together which of those we would vote on. And that first meeting, we were able to donate $4,650 to the participant or the organization that presented to us.
Right.
We have since met one other time in September where we donated $5,900. So
Okay.
we are upwards of $10,000 so far donating in the last calendar year.
Right, and that's a short amount of time,
Very
really, for
short,
a lot
yes.
of money. But that's kind of by design. This is a kind of a one-time infusion of donations for these nonprofits. Is
Sure.
kind of the idea, correct?
Yes.
And it can really make a big difference, I'm sure, as you've probably heard from the folks that you have helped
Yes,
out.
we oftentimes, in fact, every time we will invite the recipient of those funds back to our next meeting and ask that they present to us how they use the funds, what it meant to them, really what it did for their organization. And that is the best part of it. We get to hear the impact that we truly did have with those funds.
Right. Now let me turn to Patrick Manchester and Martin Caddell about the men's group. It's kind of along the same rules, correct? That you all would meet and get nominations from your membership for a local nonprofit, correct?
It is. With the men's group, I want to back up a little bit.
Yeah.
And when we first started this, I want to give credit to Martin because he's the one that he came over to Rita in my office and sat down and he was telling me about this group. And Rita was sitting there listening to this, and that's how the girls got going so fast. She took the ball and took off running and got a hold of Heather.
See how she
and it
is?
was going.
There you go. Right. Okay.
And they got organized quick enough. And then if you look at the dynamics of the way this group works, and you get together, you nominate, you vote, and you get to give money away.
Right.
Okay, it's just as simple as that.
That's really how it
And
works, right?
No
Yeah.
money exchanges between us or anybody. It's from you. You write your check directly to the nonprofit. After the meeting, everybody writes their check to the one we voted on, and then they take the money from there.
Right. So there's not one holding center for all these funds or anything. It's really all the individuals, for the men and the women, who are keeping track of their own money, but they're ideally setting aside a certain amount every month. So then by the end of that quarter, you have that $300 or $150 to give to that nominated nonprofit who everybody agrees to donate to that quarter. Is that how it works?
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Okay, there you go.
It is really one of the most simplest ways to impact our community, right? Obviously, nonprofits are driven by money. They need money to survive. They need money to do the things how they impact on a individual basis. Men don't like to meet. I don't like meetings, right?
Right.
So it's pretty easy to encourage you guys to get together one time a quarter, four times a year.
Right.
Write your check, spend about an hour and a half with us, but see impact in our community.
Right, because it adds up, as Heather was saying. I
Absolutely.
mean, we're talking
Last time I checked, 300 times 100 men is $30,000 a quarter.
Right. So that's
That's an impact. That's our goal.
That's your goal, right?
That's where we want to be.
And so these groups are open to anyone to join, the men and the women. Is that
Absolutely.
correct? I mean, it's not necessarily, you don't need necessarily an invitation or anything to join, right?
Well, with the men and the women, you go to our website.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's a place on there you sign up in a commitment form. And what you're saying, you're committing to this, how much money you're going to give a quarter.
Right.
Okay, you fill it out. It emails to myself. I just happen to be the contact person. And after you do that, I'll send you an email back, and then you can go back on the same website and nominate. And what you do, you have one nomination for one nonprofit every quarter.
Right.
So each man or woman has one nomination, correct?
Yes.
Okay, every quarter, and then we get them all in a hat. We draw 3 2 weeks prior to our meeting. Those 3 are the ones we're going to listen to because we only have time to listen to 3.
Right. So they'll be invited to come and present to the
Exactly.
quarterly meeting.
And then we vote at that quarterly meeting, whoever we pick. We could even, if we have enough funds as we grow bigger, we could even decide to give it to all 3 or whatever.
Sure.
Because we can have that talk at that time,
Mm-hmm.
and then we deliver the checks. It's just that quick,
Just like that.
just like that.
And no more meetings, so Martin's happy.
That's it.
That's
Really
important.
happy.
Right.
That's
There,
exactly
there
right.
you go.
Yeah.
And the website we should mention is 100, the numbers, 100menwhocare.org.
Yes, sir.
for the men. And Heather, the women's, is it the same? Can we get to the women's
no,
site? But you have a Facebook page.
We do have a Facebook page. We do have a website. I think it's SJC 100 Women Who Care.
Okay.
Yes.
You can search for that and find it, I'm sure, everybody.
Yes,
But
exactly.
that would be the way to do it. But this is a financial commitment you're asking from these individuals, right? And for
Exactly.
the men, it's $100 a month.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so that's $300 a quarter. My math is right. I'm even keeping my shoes on to figure that out this morning. And Heather, for the women, it is a little bit different?
It's essentially the same. The philosophy is, well, it's a very catchy phrase, 100 women who care. So the idea is, it's all a game of numbers, right? So 100 women essentially donating their $100 a month makes nice round numbers, of
Sure.
course. But
Right.
back to your question about who can participate? Well, we want everyone to be able to participate. We want anyone who has a heart for giving to be able to give in some way. So where the women's group differs from the men's group slightly, we have decided that if there is a time where you could only maybe come up with $50 a month as opposed to that $100 a month, you could become a participant as well. And that really just allows us to gather more women who want to participate. So on those quarterly meetings, and we've had 2 so far, about half of us sit down and write a check for $300, and the other half sit down and write a check for $150, and that's okay. The idea is to reduce attrition, right? We want this to be an ongoing group of women and of course men through the years. The real impact is when we're 2 years down the road, 10 years down the road, and we still have the same participants that we've had. Then we're doing a lot of good.
Sure, that's very true. And so for these groups that are nominated, again, we talked a little bit before we came on the air this morning, these have to be somewhat already established. I don't want to say well established. They can be a new nonprofit, but it has to be a nonprofit. But you certainly want to make sure that they can handle this influx of donations, of
Yes, sir.
dollars, right?
Exactly.
Yes, sir. You know, when you look at 100 men or 100 women who care nationally, they are typically very pro-education, obviously very pro-community. So those are the things that we're looking to support. Local nonprofit organizations that can make an impact with the dollars that we, donate. Obviously, as Heather so eloquently put it, it is a numbers game, and it is if you have a giving heart. And so think about what this will look like in 6 months, 18 months, 36 months down the road when these 2 organizations are influxing $240,000 a year into our nonprofit communities. That's a difference maker.
Right. Yeah, that's for sure.
I mean, that is a difference
And
maker.
it has happened in Abilene. How much are they doing?
It's that my guys in Abilene, I have a lot of good friends who are 100 Men Who Care guys. It's called the Big Country 100 Men Who Care. And this last spring, they went over the $400,000 mark in just 3.5 years.
Right.
So it can happen. It happens all over the country. In Dallas County, there's a group that are over 700 strong. So when they get together and write checks, it's impactful.
Right.
Now, not that we could ever have 700, but
we could.
But we could have 100.
Sure.
And so that's our goal. That's our striving point. So anyone listening or paying attention, come join the fun. It is amazing what can happen when we pour ourselves into our community.
Our first meeting, we did 5,000, and we gave away to Inspire, that does the programs in the schools.
Right. Okay.
So for the men, we got together. Our first meeting went real well, and we came up with $5,000.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Absolutely.
Right.
And a plug for those guys. That 4C Inspire actually impacts 2,500 kids a week in our local school systems. That's phenomenal. I love that.
Right. That's
Our
terrific.
schools, our teachers, our principals, our administration need all the help that they can get from our community.
And again, these organizations come from your membership. They are nominated by the members of your groups,
Exactly.
correct?
Yes.
And so if someone comes in and then it's the whole consensus, I guess, that decide on the 3 nominations or the 3 finalists? Is that how it works? Or a core
everybody's-
group?
Everybody's invited to when we draw the 3 names.
Okay.
So what it is, we literally use poker chips, and each group has a number, and that number stays with them forever.
Okay.
Okay, like
That's your number.
Inspire is a certain number. And even if they're out, I take their chips and save them because they can be back in after a year with our group. And then we shake it up. We draw 3 numbers, and those are the 3 we're going to listen to. We contact them,
I see.
and then we go from there, and then we vote. As far as the guys, you guys,
We do it very similarly.
Very similar.
It is literally a bucket. Every
Right.
nomination goes in the bucket. We pull out 3 and invite them to present to the group.
Gotcha. And how much time do they have when they come to present to the group? Is there a time limit?
12 to 15 minutes.
Okay.
So and that's another great thing, right? Because that means the meetings don't last more than an hour and a half.
Right.
So, gentlemen,
See?
it's not a long meeting, and it's once a quarter. So
That's right.
Come be a part. It is, and it is amazing to hear the things that people just in our one time to have the opportunity to hear the 3 different nonprofits, the things that they're doing in our community. I mean, I could have given the $5,000 if it was up to me. I would have given $5,000 to each of them,
Right.
because they're
Right.
doing great things. And so that sometimes that's the hardest part is who do you support and who But just because you've presented, that doesn't mean that you're not eligible to present again sometime in the not so distant future if you weren't awarded.
Right.
So,
Which is good.
Absolutely.
And to decide on the ultimate winner, I guess, does that have to be a unanimous decision by your membership, or is
Democratic
it
vote.
just a majority rules?
majority rules.
Okay.
There is no electoral college.
Okay, good.
And that's just as simple. Like our next meeting, January 10th at noon at World Harvest Church Fellowship Hall. And what we do is first presenter, second presenter, third presenter, we just pick them. Okay, you're number 1, number 2, number 3. So each person that walks in the door, we hand them a chip of a number 1, a number 2, and a 3 written on it.
Okay.
So when it's time to vote, you walk up and you drop your vote in this bucket and the other 2 in this bucket.
That's how you vote.
And that's it. And then we count those up, and the
Yeah.
winner, and it's just that easy.
And once a year, the men and the women will come together collectively. Okay, and so that's going to happen in January. One, it gives us an opportunity to just not interact with our fellow men, but the women, and we'll have a meal together, and that too encourages community, right?
Right.
And so this coming January, we're real excited because we believe that more than $10,000 will be awarded, and that's a shot in the arm
To
for
one
some-
organization,
to
you're
one
going to
organization.
pool your
We are. We're pulling.
resources, I guess, for that one meeting?
We
Yes,
are.
sir.
Okay, very good. Well, it is 100 men and 100 women who care in San Juan County, and it is ongoing, and it is underway, and there's more information on both Facebook. If you search for that group, each individual group, 100 men, 100 women who care, and of course on the website as well.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
That is the idea. Well, it sounds like a great organization, and there's certainly a lot of worthy nonprofits in the area, I know, that were awaiting the call to come and present to your organizations. So thank you all for coming in this morning.
Scott,
It's our
thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank you for
Appreciate
having
your
us.
time.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. My guests from 100 Men and 100 Women Who Care here in San Juan County on KSJE. And I'll be back with more in just a moment, everyone. The time is 8:27. This program on KSJE is supported by Citizens Trust and